My name is Evelyn. I qualified as an interior coordinator and interior planner during my university years, and after graduation I worked for a renovation company. I have an older brother, Tyler, who is 2 years older than me. After graduating from university, my brother went on to postgraduate studies and, in addition to teaching, is immersed in research as a scholar. We were close as siblings and would visit my parents' house together when it suited both of us. How are you both getting on at work? Busy every day, but it's worthwhile and fun. Me too. I'm getting more and more appointments from clients these days. I like your work ethic, but neither of you are planning to get married? Not at the moment. Marriage. Well, in time. We both prioritize work in their lives, with romance and marriage a secondary concern. My parents seem to worry endlessly. When I was in my 30s, I got married first, and 2 years later, my brother also tied the knot. My parents must have been relieved. Yet, little did we know that both my brother and I would end up embroiled in an unbelievable ordeal together. I got married about 3 years ago. I belonged to a renovation company, and I was sometimes seconded to work for building companies and real estate companies. My activities ranged from consulting on interior design at my secondment destination to taking part in on-site inspections. It was through my work that I met Nigel, who later became my husband. Nigel is the owner of Renovate Real Estate, a real estate brokerage and renovation business. The company was set up by Nigel's father, but Nigel took over the management of the company a few years ago after his father fell ill and had to be treated at home. One day, Nigel's company received a large renovation project and came to the company I work for advice because they were short of staff to work on the interior. I was seconded to Nigel's company as the person in charge at that time, and that's how we got to know each other. As business partners, I think we got on very well. I think it was good that we were of the same age, so we were able to express our true feelings to each other without being reserved. We clashed at times, but I remember it was very easy to work together because we all wanted to do a good job. Nigel probably felt the same way, and after that, he often asked me to join him as a staff member specializing in interior design. At that time, Nigel was just a business associate. I don't think he was even aware of me as a romantic prospect. We became aware of each other when Nigel's mother came to check on him at work and said, "You two are a perfect match. It's as if you've been together for years." The employees who were there said, "I thought so, too." They all chimed in, suggesting things like, "Why don't you just start dating already?" or "Getting married for real might not be a bad idea after all." After that, I became strangely conscious of him, for example when our eyes suddenly met, even though we were in a work meeting. One day, Nigel's mother asked me to make time to talk to her. "Evelyn, are you willing to marry Nigel?" Marriage, is it? No, I don't. First of all, Nigel and I don't have that kind of relationship. But it seems that Nigel wants to marry Evelyn. I've never heard that before. Is that so? But Nigel said so. If that's the case, shouldn't Nigel tell me that directly? In the first place. But Nigel is a little timid about marriage. According to what my mother-in-law told me, Nigel had previously hit it off with a woman he had started dating through an acquaintance and started a relationship with her on the assumption that they would get married. His relationship with the woman was going well, and when he had already greeted both families and was looking for a wedding venue, he he was suddenly told by her that he wanted to call off the marriage. Without any clear reasons given, she stubbornly insisted, "Anyway, marriage with you is out of the question," leaving him no room to argue or even contemplate further. Perhaps because of the shock of that moment, Nigel subsequently showed no interest in marriage at all. When I think back to Nigel, who is passionate about his work and always behaves cheerfully, I feel kind of sorry for him. So, you see, if you could be supported by a kind and dependable woman like Evelyn, as a mother, there would be nothing happier for me. But we've never talked about that before. You don't like Nigel? No, I don't. I respect him as a business partner. Good. Nigel seems to love Evelyn. Even at home, he talks about you all the time. That makes me happy, but I wonder if you'd consider dating with marriage in mind. Yes, that's right. I'll try to think positively about it. Thank you. I'll let Nigel know how you feel. We then officially started dating, and a few months later Nigel proposed to me. It was like I was forced half-heartedly into agreeing to marry him, but without my mother-in-law's encouragement we probably would not have ended up getting married. Let's work together to energize this company. Taking the form of marriage might be a good step towards that goal. Our marriage started surprisingly smoothly. We made a promise not to bring our personal lives into our work, and we both kept it to ourselves, so it never interfered with our work at the company. The company was doing well and we, as well as my mother-in-law, were happy. Good things tend to keep coming. About 2 years after we were married, I received a call from my parents that my brother Tyler was getting married. I immediately phoned my brother. Congratulations! Is it finally time for you to pay your dues? Well, is Evelyn doing well? More importantly, what kind of person is your partner? Her name's Aubrey, but she's actually a former student of mine. Aubrey had always admired her brother since that time, and he confessed my feelings for her as soon as she graduated. It seems Aubrey had been admiring my brother all along, and as soon as she graduated, she confessed her feelings to him. I'd like to introduce her to you too, so could you come to our parents' house next Sunday? Sure. I'm looking forward to it. On the appointed Sunday, the whole family gathered for the first time in a long while. And that is where I was introduced to Aubrey. Aubrey is 12 years younger than my brother. She spoke with a soft, doll-like demeanor, and her speech was slightly hesitant, as if she were being a bit coquettish. Her pastel-colored dress suited her very well. It was hard to believe that she was 23, but she still looked young, like a little girl. Alongside my brother, who is often seen as older than his actual age, they look like father and daughter. I was worried that she would not get on well with my taciturn and serious brother, but it seems that he is not too happy about it either. I can marry teacher Tyler, it's like a dream. Please don't call me like that. Okay. I'm going to call you Tyler from now on. Are you sure you're okay with an old man like him? I've always admired Tyler. So, I'm incredibly happy. I was a bit uncomfortable with Aubrey's way of speaking and gestures, perhaps calling it a generation gap. Nevertheless, seeing my brother's happy face made me happy too, and I welcomed Aubrey with open arms. At the wedding, there were murmurs of envy and teasing about the age gap between my brother and Aubrey. Nigel, who attended with me, also teased, "She's a lovely wife. Your brother really knows how to pick her up, huh?" It was a very cheerful wedding, with constant laughter from start to finish, and I gave my heartfelt blessing. Later, however, something unexpected happened. Less than 6 months after the wedding, my brother was appointed as a visiting professor at a local university. It was for a fixed term of 2 years, but I was worried that Aubrey would have a hard time with a change of environment so soon after the wedding. Thank you for your concern. But I'm fine. I've decided to stay here. What? You're separating as soon as you're newlyweds? Because isn't it scary to go to a place you don't know? I don't even know anyone there. My parents think it would be better. No, it's nothing to do with my parents. Is my brother okay with that? Well, it's only for 2 years, and I don't want to force her to go. If my brother's happy, then that's what matters. But aren't you worried about leaving Aubrey alone in that apartment? So, Evelyn, will you look out for her? I don't mind that much. But I feel safer with Evelyn by my side. I hope you'll come and visit me in my flat from time to time. The fact is that I was a little taken aback by Aubrey's unconcerned attitude. But if it was something that they had discussed and decided on together, it would be strange for me, an outsider, to interfere. My brother then proceeded with his preparations for a regional posting and left in a hurry. The day I saw my brother off was the beginning of the drama that was to follow. As I had promised my brother, I tried to pay as much attention to her as possible, visiting her at my flat on my days off and inviting her to our house. When Aubrey came to our house, Nigel also welcomed her and the three of us had a good time together, sometimes going out to restaurants recommended by Aubrey. I have to thank Nigel as well. I should be thankful to Nigel for helping me, so I won't have to make Aubrey feel lonely until my brother comes back. At that time, I was carefree enough not to even consider such things. Then, probably around 6 months after my brother's departure, Aubrey made me an offer. It pains me to trouble you, so from now on you can leave me alone. Thank you for everything you've done for me. You're not bothered by it. Don't worry about it. But I'm taking up your sister-in-law's precious time, aren't I? I think it's time for me to work hard on my own. I'm not going to let you do it again. If Aubrey says so, then any further concern would be meddlesome. But if you have any problems, call me immediately. Okay. Thank you very much. Aubrey, whom I had thought was a spoiled brat, was trying to do her best on her own, so I had no choice but to watch her from afar. Aubrey sometimes worked part-time, met with friends, and seemed to be enjoying her time in her own way. Sometime later, however, an unbelievable revelation was made. Nigel often went out at night for business entertainment or meetings, and we didn't have much time to talk together. One day, however, he came home on time and with a serious expression on his face said, "I need to talk to you." That's unusual. What do you want to talk about? Evelyn, I'm really sorry, but could you break up with me? What? What's the joke? I'm not joking. How could he suddenly divorce me without warning? I didn't instantly understand what was being said. You mean you want a divorce? Yes. Please. Yes, I understand. How can you say that? At least tell me why. That's... After saying this, Nigel fell silent. What on earth happened? Is he breaking up? You mean you want a divorce? But why? Did I do something to Nigel that he didn't like? All sorts of questions are going round and round in my head. I didn't know what words to say, so I locked myself in the bedroom, leaving Nigel in the living room, who had fallen silent. I didn't sleep a wink that night, and the next day I missed work for the first time. I hoped that Nigel's story that day was a lie, but from that day on, Nigel never came home. If you go to work, you will see each other, but Nigel deliberately goes out to work, so it is difficult to continue the conversation. I can't stand the way things are going. I don't want a divorce. But Nigel was serious. I'm afraid to ask him why he divorced me. Unable to talk to my parents or brother, I ended up asking my mother-in-law to talk to me. When I visited my mother-in-law, she didn't know anything about it yet, but she welcomed me. "Hello, Evelyn, welcome to my home. How are you and Nigel getting on? Actually, there's something I wanted to discuss with you about Nigel." When I told her that Nigel had asked me for a divorce, at first my mother-in-law laughed and said, "Oh no. Please don't make funny jokes," but when I told her that he hadn't even come home recently, she turned very pale indeed. "What's the reason? Did you get into a fight?" "No, in the last few months he has often come home late from meetings and entertainment, but the other day he suddenly asked me to break up with him, and I didn't know what on earth to do. I can't believe he didn't even tell me why." "I understand. I need to have a proper talk with Nigel." My mother-in-law then contacted Nigel, and we decided to discuss it at my mother-in-law's house on the next holiday. On the next holiday, I went to my mother-in-law's house a little early. Then Nigel came a little later, but for some reason Aubrey was also there behind Nigel. "What? Why is Brienne here? Who is this person?" "Her name is Brienne and she is my brother's wife." "What? Why would someone like that?" "Nigel, what are you doing bringing in an outsider?" "No, she's not an outsider. In fact." Nigel's story was hard to believe. He told me that he and Aubrey had exchanged contact details without my knowledge and that they often met together. Aubrey said to me, "The three of us are always together, but wouldn't it be nice if we went out together sometimes without telling Evelyn?" Aubrey asked him to go out with her, and he agreed. "Does that mean you had an affair with Aubrey?" "Nigel. How could you? It's not too late. Apologize to Evelyn. And break up with that woman immediately. That's not how it works. I feel bad for Evelyn, but I like Aubrey more now, is that what you're saying?" "Nigel, you should just come clean already. Say it's because Aubrey is pregnant." "What? What child?" "Aubrey, are you pregnant?" "Actually, yes. Nigel, he's going to be a father. That's why he wants you to leave him." "That's why. I'll take care of the formalities, alimony and so on, so just keep that in mind." Leaving me and my mother-in-law stunned, Nigel and Aubrey quickly left. Those of us who were left behind were speechless for a while. How much time has passed since then? My mother-in-law said in a weak voice, "I'm sorry." I didn't know how to reply. And after that, I was told a shocking truth by my mother-in-law. A few days after that day, when I was told that Aubrey was pregnant, I received a call from my parents. Of course, it was about Aubrey's infidelity and probably about my brother's divorce. Is another chaotic situation like that waiting for us? No, it might even surpass the chaos of that day. With a heavy heart, I visited my parents' home. There I found my parents, Nigel and Aubrey, who were involved in the case, and my brother Tyler, who had suddenly returned from his post. My parents were exhausted. It was understandable. They were told that their own daughter's husband and my own son's wife were having an affair, and to top it off, they had even conceived a child. I've heard the story. I think I have no choice but to leave Aubrey. I'm sorry. But, I was really lonely when I was separated from Tyler. That's why I ended up here. I'm sorry, but when Tyler and I got separated, I was really lonely. No, there's no point in rehashing it now. It's just that I wasn't a good judge of character. What? Isn't that a horrible thing to say? Shut up. You're the one who did something terrible. Oh, no. I'm scared of my sister-in-law. So, does that mean Evelyn's getting a divorce too? Yes, that's right. I can't stand being married to Nigel any longer. I'm disappointed in you too, Nigel. What was wrong with Evelyn? I have to take over the company now. So, I wanted an heir soon. But even after 2 or 3 years of marriage, we couldn't conceive. Are you trying to tell me that it's Evelyn's fault you can't have kids? I just wanted to make my mom happy as soon as possible, because she worries about me. Mum? Nigel, do you call your mother a mum? What? No, it's not like that. He's cute and all, isn't he? But saying things like that might lead to your husband cheating on you, you know? Shut up. You shut up. In any case, I can show my grandchildren's faces now. I'm divorcing you, who is infertile. I'm prepared to give you a sufficient amount of alimony. I will also prepare the alimony that Aubrey will pay. I can rely on you, Nigel. Aubrey, you shouldn't be too cheerful. I need to confirm something. Who is the real father of the child in your womb? Evelyn? What are you talking about? Of course it's my child. There's a reason why I shot that arrow at this moment. In fact, that day when I was told that Aubrey was pregnant, my mother-in-law told me Nigel's secret. Evelyn, I am so sorry. No, it wasn't your fault. In fact, there is something I've been keeping from you. Nigel had a history of breakups in the past, just before he got married, and only my mother-in-law knew the reason. Both families had a bridal check, or premarital inspection. She said it was meant to be a formal premarital exchange, but the test revealed that Nigel was azoospermic. The marriage was called off when the other family raised the fact as an issue. She said that she just couldn't bring herself to tell Nigel about it. I felt sorry for him that the marriage had broken up because he was seedless. Did you know that, and that's why you suggested I marry Nigel? I'm sorry. I thought that if you were such a good woman, you would forgive me if you ever found out the truth. No. But I can't believe it's come to this. That woman Aubrey is not carrying Nigel's child. If he knew that, he would. I understand. I have no choice but to divorce Nigel, but I will tell him what you just told me. He'll be devastated. If you leave him alone, he'll be raising the child of some unknown man as his own. Are you okay with that? It still pains me to recall the pained look on my mother-in-law's face when she confided in me with such anguish. I cannot forgive her for not telling me about Nigel's azoospermia, but I am glad to know that he was after all a man who betrayed his wife with impunity. That's what I decided to think. When I confronted Aubrey with the question, "Whose child is in your belly?" she started giggling. Come on, sis-in-law, that's unbecoming. Are you trying to insult me just because you got dumped? Yes, I am. Apologize to Aubrey. And apologize to Aubrey's baby. Oh, aren't you quite the cheerful one? Nigel, aren't you seedless? Seedless? What do you mean? I told Nigel exactly what my mother-in-law had told me. Nigel's face turned pale. It's a fabricated lie. Nigel, don't be deceived. I don't care whose child Aubrey is carrying in her belly. The only thing that matters is that Nigel didn't know anything about it and didn't know anyone else's. I only told you because I felt sorry for you that you had to raise someone else's child without knowing anything about it. Aubrey, did you have relationships with other men besides Nigel? I'm not sure that's possible. The first thing to do is to make sure that the child is not a child of a man. I'm sure it is. Don't talk nonsense at this point. I haven't been back since my transfer, and Aubrey hasn't come to my assignment location either, right? So how could we have a child together? Cut it out. Anyway, both my brother and I agree to the divorce. The rest of the discussion can be done by you two, Nigel and Aubrey. However, you must leave this house now. Nigel stands up in a daze and heads for the front door. Aubrey, who had discovered his misdeed, went after him, but Nigel shook off Aubrey's hand and walked away. What do you think those two will do now? I don't care. I'm not interested in what happens to them. I'm not interested in what happens to them, but I do want to make sure that the alimony is settled. Nevertheless, both siblings ended up in lousy marriages. Seriously, we really can't judge people well, can we? In the end, it seems that the father of Aubrey's child was not Nigel. The two of us then retained lawyers and filed for compensation. Aubrey was evicted from the flat she was living in by my brother, and as she was relying on his income, she could never pay the alimony and Nigel had to pay for both of them. Nigel is in debt for both of them and is working every spare moment in his sleep to earn a living for his adulterous partner, who is carrying someone else's child and does not even work. It's just a rumor I heard through the grapevine, originally from someone at one of our business partners. My brother and I are both working hard every day, hoping to be able to give filial piety to each other in a different way.